We can use that anthropological sensitivity to build common ground. We can enable understanding and dialogue between diverse stakeholders, bringing together people in industry, government, and academia to join our work on matters of energy. Here at St. Andrews, we have incredible expertise in energy research right across the university, from the arts and humanities to the material and natural sciences, energy systems, energy materials, energy technologies, energy imaginaries. The expertise reaches right across St. Andrews and is not limited to a few disciplines, a few archives, or a few labs. Instead, it is part of who we are. It is part of our identity. And not just as researchers, but as St. Andrews at large. The Energy Ethics Project is the first ethnographic study of this ethical and financial constitution of the global oil economy. For me as an academic, it's very important to think about how can we open up debate? How can we have discussions? How can we avoid monologues and instead have dialogues? So by thinking about energy ethics, what I would like us to do is to think about people, not only the energy resources, as responsible for the climate challenges and solutions.
Over the course of my fieldwork, so really in 2019, there was a change in climate perception that led to a significant increase in climate change concern, both within the industry as well as outside of the industry. The people that I encountered in Norway, they envisioned an energy future which is collaboratively constructed between industry, politicians, NGOs, activists, and citizens.
The people I met who were saying no to fracking or who were positioning themselves against fracking, really they were part of a constructive space where they were opening up. They were really saying why and how, and not just no. And they were questioning what their role was. Really, what my interlocutors were doing when they were thinking about a future they did not want is thinking about the current system and the present they did not like, or parts of this present that they did not like. And as I said, these concerns weren't just about fracking or about the environment, there were also social and political concerns.
So Takoradi has become Ghana's new oil city since oil was found there in commercial quantities in 2007. And so Ghana has joined a new generation of African oil producers, which have in the past 10 years started oil production at somewhat of a strange time in the oil industry globally, when the future viability of oil has become increasingly under question, both ethically and financially. In particular, residents in Takoradi since the discoveries in 2007 have been really hoping that the oil boom that they expect in Takoradi would bring prosperity to their city and to their lives. But 10 years on, many of them feel highly disappointed with the lack of tangible impact that they feel from the new establishment of the oil industry.
Many of my interlocutors see their work in hydrocarbon finance as entwined with issues of responsibility. On the one hand, interlocutors I know in private equity see it as their responsibility to take calculated risks where other financiers will not. As a private equity partner, whom I call Arthur, explains, quote, "That's our job, to say, hey, this is a risky asset. This is a risky area, a risky proposition. We're going to take that risk." On the other hand, responsibility among interlocutors I know is conceptualized as a duty to materialize and vision financial outcomes, to provide financial benefits to the constituents of these investors, students and retirees, for example, and to support the livelihoods of their employees. In both of these conceptualizations, responsibility is forward-looking. It resembles the notion of acting on behalf of another for a kind of greater good.
From December 2020 until the end of July 2021, the Centre was provided with government funding to cover the costs of events and activities. During this time, the Centre organised 17 individual events. These events were varied. There were the internal-facing Energy Cafe and Pep Talk series, multi-day workshops, and international competitions. These were all held online and, cumulatively, attracted an audience of over 1,200 active attendees and participants. Here is a small sample of these events.
And it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to our inaugural Policy Engagement Practice Seminar, or a PEP Talk. The term policy engagement has an increasing prominence in the academic lexicon, but what does this entail and how does it look in practice? In this seminar series, we will explore how researchers and policymakers can work together to tackle some pressing policy issues. And the aim of these PEP Talks is to encourage academics to engage with the policy realm and to equip them with practical skills and critical insights needed for those engagements. In May, the Center for Energy Ethics invited honors students at the University of St. Andrews from across all disciplines, whose dissertation work is based on themes of climate change, climate action, and/or energy, to prepare a presentation based on their dissertation research. The students were asked to prepare an engaging and informative talk and deliver it in just 3 minutes.
A few months ago, we launched this climate fiction competition, and we asked prospective writers to imagine their vision and their story of Africa in 2050. But we ended up receiving over 550 entries from over 32 different countries. And in fact, I would say 34 countries if you count Biafra and Wakanda, which were both mentioned in some of the entries that we received. We started this project because we found that environmental discourse and narratives around climate change often reproduce quite Eurocentric or Western-centric views, priorities, and expectations. So by foregrounding Africa at 2050, we wanted to position Africa and African voices and words at the center of global conversations and innovation, and as a catalyst for climate action. But we also came together because, as researchers, we found that unfortunately, conversations about climate futures between science and the humanities often took place in separate spaces. And so we wanted to recognize the parallels between climate science and climate literature, drawing as they do on various methodologies to think, plan, and imagine the future.
Alongside these events, the Centre has branched out into other forms of public engagement. Key among these are the Energy Blog and the All About Energy podcast. The Energy Blog has been active since May 2020 and currently boasts 22 posts, which engage with a huge range of energy topics, from interviews with green tech pioneers, the future of aviation fuel, and Scotland's unique historical relationship with energy. The All About Energy podcast covers topical energy, climate, and sustainability news, as well as interviews with experts from within the worlds of energy. The 5 episodes released to date can be downloaded on most major podcast platforms or found on our website. Although the project is still in its relative infancy, there have already been approaching 450 downloads across the series.
So we are able to produce all these events thanks to our funders. We are deeply grateful to our funders for making all this possible. We have secured further funding for the future, which will help us build a wonderful team, extend our research profile with a new Center for Energy Ethics postdoctoral fellowship, and engage with policymakers on matters of energy. We are right now seeking funding that will enable us to realize many other plans that we have that will grow the standing of the Center in the world of energy. If you want to find out more, you can head to our website. You can also follow us on social media and subscribe to our weekly newsletter.